going to be many different components to this dish, and a lot of the components are not cooked at all, which is really awesome about this dish. It doesn't take a lot of cooking knowledge to really execute this dish. It is very simple in its ingredients, but everything together works harmoniously. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is we're going to make an herb oil, and what we need to do is we need to blanch these herbs. So I have some boiling water behind me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blanch them and shock them, and then we're going to blend them up with a neutral tasting oil. Okay, so now our herbs here blanched, shocked, and I chopped them up roughly, and now I'm going to add them to the oil like I've done here and take an immersion blender, and we're going to buzz this up real quick and get this as smooth as we can. Is we need to strain this out. Now the best way to strain this really is overnight through a very fine mesh sieve, but not everybody has that, so I want to show you how to do this a little bit easier. You can use a fine mesh strainer and paper towel or coffee filter. I only have one coffee filter because it's just a reusable one, so we're not going to ruin that one because I will not be making any more videos if I do that. Okay, so got it nice and warm here. Strain this through. Spatula. Make sure that we get all of this out. So you'll see here we have the paste of all the herbs here on the top, and then on the bottom, and this beautiful green, vibrant oil. Lovely oil. And like I said, the clarity of this will improve even more if you let this just sit overnight. I've warmed it up just slightly to get this to pass through quickly, because you don't have to do that. It's beautiful just the way it is right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this set for a little bit, let all that excess oil drain out of it, and then we're going to do some interesting things with the herb paste that's left over. Okay, and there we are. Everything has strained out, and we're left with this beautiful green oil. And it tastes good. It looks beautiful. You cannot go wrong with this at all, ever. Set that to the side, and we're going to work on our next component to get ready, which is going to be the foam. So I have in here a serrano chili, apples, methyl cellulose, soy lecithin, and iota carrageenan gum, and a little bit of natural honey, Jamie's natural honey. So a little bit of that, and a dash of salt, and we're going to blend this up and then turn this into a foam, into our foam canister. So I have the immersion blender here. Also, there is 200 grams of Chardonnay wine in here as the base. Add a little bit of our herb paste for some color. Alright, it's vibrant green. Okay, so I have here the liquid that we just blended, all strained out and smooth. See how it's a little a little thick there from the gum and the methyl cellulose. So now I have our foam canister here, and I'm going to pour the mixture in. So, mixture inside. I've chosen the wide fluted tip for this one. Make sure my O-ring is set. When you're tightening this down, it's much easier to move the bottom canister and tighten it down than to move the top because of the shape of it. It's much easier to go like this and then tighten completely. Again, gas canister, nitrogen on top. Go down just until you feel it start to get snug. As soon as you start to feel it get snug, that's when the needle is about to pierce the gas canister inside. Then you want to give it a good turn, and you will hear shoo, and everything is now been pushed into the canister. So you want to give it a shake. And we're going to set this aside. Okay, for our next step, we're going to do some herb spheres. So I have here water, about 3-4 ounces of water, sodium alginate, 4 grams of sodium alginate, and 1 tablespoon about of the herb paste. I'm also going to add about a tablespoon of our herb oil, just about, maybe a little bit more, I'd say about 2 tablespoons of our herb oil. Give us some more flavor. Okay, now what we're going to do to activate the alginate is blend it up. So if you do this correctly, it should be slightly thick like that. That means that the sodium alginate is activated and it is mixed in with our liquid. Now, why didn't we do all oil? That's because the oil will not correctly bond with this unless you have a little bit of water to activate the sodium alginate. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to gently just stir, just gently, kind of break up any of those air bubbles. Okay, so now we have our solution. I've strained the solution, and now I'm going to put it into the container here, the syringe, just about there. Okay, in there. Okay. Now you want to put the top on the syringe over the bin so we can kind of squeeze out a little bit. You can see it's naturally dropping, so let's test this out. Yep, it's exactly what you want to see. And drop closer to the water. I'm gonna make these look like little tadpoles. You need to take a strainer, move these around, make sure they got all coated. The longer they sit in there, the longer, the harder the shell will be. I'm gonna take these out and get these into a clean water bath. Slotted spoon is best for this. And here we have our herb caviar droplets. So you can also do with this, you can also do like little strands. Almost like a noodle. I want to let that do its thing. This look like seaweed. And let bigger structures, you want to let them sit You don't want to remove them right away because they'll break on you. Okay, so here for this dish now we have our herb caviar and our herb caviar noodles. So I'm gonna, what I've done is added a little bit of the herb oil to just kind of keep these from sticking together, because if you leave them with nothing, they will gel together and stick together. So you just want to coat them in a little bit of the herb oil that we have. I'm going to set those aside. Now here I have, what I've done is just a toasted couscous. This is just room temperature with a little salt and toasted sesame oil. And that's it, nothing else. Component, so we have here plum cots. So apricot and plum together. What we're going to do is we're going to brulee these. I'm going to dust these with some sugar to start. A big thing with bruleeing is keeping the sugar raining onto them. So let's start with our torch. First you want to create a layer of sugar. See how it dissolves, it starts bubbling. Then you want to add some more sugar, and caramelize some more, and one more time. And repeat with the rest. And there we are, some nice bruleed plum cots. And the reason why we rain the sugar down is to build layers of sugar to create a nice thick layer of sugar. You want to do this right before we start to plate up, because the moisture in the plum cot will come out and eventually this sugar will kind of just slide off due to the high moisture content inside. Okay, so now we have here our salmon and avocado roll. I'm going to unwrap. Okay. Okay. All right, we're going to need to cut this, so you're going to lose a decent amount of this just because we want to make this look really good. And the only way to do that is to first cut off the ends. Okay. This can be just little chef snacks for yourself. In between, you're going to want to wipe the knife. Chef snack there. Okay. End up with about 3 rolls for our plate. And these can just be your little snack. Now, last but not least, we have our last component of the dish, which will be buttermilk whey and our herb oil mixed together. And we go to pour this, is going to create a nice marble dotted effect that's going to look like almost seawater. So it's going to be really cool. And very, very simple.